おかえりなさい。ただいま。おやすみなさい。おやすみ。待ちなさい。何様のつもり？こんにちは、ジャパニーズサーモンのミサです。Hey guys, today we're going to learn the imperative form なさい。So you know Japanese parents don't say I love you to their kids, but instead they say 勉強しなさい。勉強しなさい。Study! If you have Asian parents, you probably understand this. Study hard and you shall receive my love. Anyway, I have no idea how many times my mom has said this exact phrase to me. 勉強しなさい. Anyway, this なさい is the imperative form and you put it after the must form stem. So the dictionary form of the verb to study is 勉強する, right? And the must form, the more polite form is 勉強します, right? Instead of must, add なさい. 勉強しなさい, which means する verbs always would have this しなさい, right? Other verbs, 聞く, for example, to listen, becomes 聞きます in the must form, right? 聞きます, u into i, 聞く, 聞き. And then you put なさい for the imperative. 聞きなさい, listen to me. Or to talk, 話す becomes 話しなさい, speak. So these 聞きなさい, 話しなさい, they sound quite rude, okay? But parents and teachers use them. So you shouldn't talk like that to your friends or, older people. They would be so angry. Unless, again, you're joking and you're acting as if you are a teacher and you're lecturing your friends. Right? Like, 聞きなさい. You listen to me. Then it's funny. So it depends on the context. But if you're serious and say that, your friends probably would say, you're not my parent. Like, 親じゃないのにどうしてそんな話し方してるの? So if you want your friend to listen to you, instead of 聞きなさい, which sounds like you're lecturing them, say 聞いて, 聞いて. Okay, so the te form of 聞く is 聞いて. Everyone makes mistakes, so remember, if the verb has く at the end, the く becomes いて. So 書く to write, 書いて. 聞く to listen, 聞いて. 開く to open, 開いて. So to friends, you can say 聞いて. And if you're speaking to a stranger or older people, you have to say 聞いてください. You add ください, okay? 聞いて to friends, 聞いてください. More formal. And if you are talking to your kids or students, you can say 聞きなさい. 聞きなさい. But even parents also use the te form, 聞いて, because using なさい makes you sound quite authoritative and also intimidating. Okay, so, parents don't always have to sound, scary. Instead of 見なさい, look at that. They would just say 見て, look at that. And for those who want to sound rude and scary, なさい is not the answer. It only works if you're a parent or teacher. If you want to, be rude to a Japanese stranger, you don't want to use なさい, but you want to conjugate the verb to another rude imperative form. So I'm going to teach you that too. So to look, 見る. 見て, look at that. Friendly way to say look. Right? 見て. 見なさい. It's like a parent speaking. 見なさい. Look. And also 見ろ. 見ろ. It's the rude imperative form. So it's like look. Okay. So it's like how we swear in Japanese. Like we don't add swear words. Like we don't have like F words really. But we conjugate verb to make it sound rude. So what happened? The verb that has いる, 得る endings, like 見る, 食べる, 起きる, 寝る, For those verbs, you change the last る into ろ. That's how you get the rude imperative. So 見る、見ろ。食べる、食べろ。起きる、起きろ。寝る、寝ろ. So 起きて is how you gently wake somebody up. In anime, you will often hear お兄ちゃん起きてBig brother, wake up! Because, Anyway, that's how you can wake your, partners up as well. Parents often say 起きなさい, 起きなさい. They might also say 起きて gently as well, but if you're not waking up and that makes them angry, they'd say 起きなさい. You, mister, wake up right now. And if you're a bad person holding somebody captive, for example, and want to wake that person up, you'd say 起きろ! 起きろ! Wake up. So that's the difference. For other verbs, so basically non-irregular verbs, you change the last u sound into e sound. Okay? So 聞く to listen becomes 聞け. 聞け. Listen to me. Gently, you say 聞いて. As a parent, you say 聞きなさい. Also as a teacher as well. 聞きなさい. As a yakuza, you say 聞け. Okay? 聞いて. 聞きなさい. 聞け. In TV shows, you might often hear どけ or どけよ. That's how we say get out of my way. Out of my way. どく means to step aside, to move out of the way. So どいて, that's the friendly way. Like, can you move a bit? Can be rude. If you are really friendly with someone, you can say ちょっとどいて. Yeah, adding ちょっと makes it much better. ちょっとどいて. Still, どいてください sounds still rude. Like, can you move? It sounds rude in English too, right? More politely, you usually say ちょっといいですか? Like, can I get by? Like, literally, is it okay? A little, but it's like, that's how we say, could you move politely, indirectly as well. Or just say, すみません, excuse me. But to friends and family, you say, ちょっとどいて. Like, but you gotta say it very gently, If you say どいて, still sounds quite rude. But if you say どけ, that's like you are, a really scary person. So you will hear both types of imperative forms. But nasai, I said, you will hear from parents and teachers, but also, just any bossy characters might say that. So Rin from Fate, it's not just Rin, other characters in Fate say that. If you haven't watched Fate, I'd highly recommend it. Personally, I would recommend you to watch Fate Stay Night first, then Fate Zero, although Fate Zero is meant to be prequel. Anyway, so characters have servants, people who fight for the masters. So if you watch Fate, Rin says, Acha, blah blah, nasai, a lot. Acha, 聞きなさい or Acha, 言うこと聞きなさい. 言うこと聞きなさい literally means listen to what I say. 言う to say. こと is like things. So listen to things I say. It's like follow my order. 言うこと聞きなさい. So often the master would say that to servants. But interestingly, in Pokemon, they use the rude imperative. So return Pikachu, we'd say 戻れ Pikachu. 戻れ 戻る is to return. U into 戻る 戻れ. That's the rude way to say return. Or go Pikachu, we'd say 行け Pikachu. So 行く becomes 行け. So this rude imperative form is meant to sound rude, right? But sometimes it doesn't have to. Like Pokemon, like we don't think that the characters are speaking like Yakuza. It's just, often like to animals, you can give a command with that form. Although to my Pikachu, I wouldn't say 戻れ Pikachu. I say Pikachu, 戻ってきて. Anyway, another example where this form is not rude. For example, 頑張る is to do one's best, And when you want to say good luck, you can say 頑張って. Okay? So usually you use the te form, 頑張って. But you can also use this imperative form and change your u into e again. 頑張る, 頑張れ, 頑張れ. This doesn't sound rude at all. I mean, you can't say that to older people or your senpai or, anyone you are supposed to respect. You have to say 頑張ってください. So you have to add ください after the te form. But to friends, you can say 頑張れ, 頑張れ, and it doesn't sound rude at all. I would say 頑張って slightly sounds more polite. So 頑張れ is often used by men, but girls can definitely say that too. Or like that Pokemon example, go Pikachu, 行け Pikachu. That 行け can also be used to encourage somebody to keep going. Like if somebody is running a marathon, it's like 行け! Like Misa, 行け, 行け, 行け. Like go, Misa! It all depends on the context and words, right? So like, for example, shut up. You can say 黙れ. Okay, this sounds very harsh. 黙れ. 黙る is to become silent, to shut up. So telling somebody to shut up is already rude. No matter what form you use, you're gonna always sound rude. Like if you use the te form, 黙って, you're still sounding rude because of the word and, the meaning. But 頑張る, 頑張って, 頑張れ, it's a positive thing, so it's not gonna sound rude. But, if you want somebody to return something, you can go 返して, return, like give it back, return that to me. 返して. This still sounds friendly, okay? But if you say 返せ, then you sound really angry. It also depends on the tone of your voice, basically. And also phrases like おやすみなさい, ごめんなさい, おかえりなさい. They don't sound rude. So let's talk about おやすみなさい first. If you want to say good night to your friends, you say おやすみ, おやすみ. So that やすみ comes from the verb 休む, to rest. And o is making it more polite, おやすみ. That's how you talk to your friends. You can also say おやすみなさい, but おやすみ is more common among friends. So おやすみ sounds more casual. Also, おやすみなさい sounds more polite. It really depends on the person. Like some parents say おやすみなさい to their kids, while other parents would say おやすみ. Often when the parents talk to very small children, they say おやすみなさい. They just make everything sound more polite. So you can say おやすみなさい to your kids and your friends as well. It depends on how you were brought up. Like if you come from kind of a posh family, maybe you've always heard your parents say おやすみなさい, so you say that to your friends as well. Personally, my family was mega poor. It doesn't affect much, but I always say おやすみ to my friends. Like, kind of sounds weird for me to say おやすみなさい to my friends. Both are okay. If you're staying, for example, at a Japanese inn, ryokan, you might also hear the staff say おやすみなさいませ. おやすみなさいませ. So they add this ませ to make it super polite. So you'd never say おやすみなさいませ to your family. If you're royalty, maybe you say おやすみなさいませ. But so the staff would say おやすみなさいませ. But you as guests wouldn't say おやすみなさいませ. It sounds weird. You can either say おやすみなさい to them or just bow. That's very common. Like, if you don't know what to say in Japan, just bow and the 90% of problems will be solved. It's like sometimes just not saying anything and bowing is the most natural thing to do. Convenience store employee, like staff, would say ありがとうございました. Thank you very much. You don't want to say ありがとう to them. I mean, you can. It's very nice, but generally you don't. But what most Japanese people do, bow. Silent. Or somebody opens the door for you, you can say ありがとうございます. But most Japanese people just bow. Or just, do this. And that's it. It's very common. Or like if you're crossing the road, in Europe, I don't know if it's every country, but for example, in Czech Republic, people do this, right? To me, that looked very weird. This kind of looked like stop. Okay, so to me, it didn't look polite. Now I do it because everyone else does it. But in Japan, like for example, I crossed the road and if the car stopped for me, I would actually make a small bow and go. So yeah, very interesting. Anyway, so the staff might say おやすみなさいませ, but if you're not an employee, you probably would never say that. What about to your boss? おやすみなさい, おやすみなさいませ. It's okay, but some people might say it's not appropriate. In business situation, when talking to your boss, your clients, and it's nighttime, it might be just best to say 失礼いたします. 失礼いたします. So instead of おやすみなさい or さようなら, sayonara also would sound very weird. It's like you're not going to work next day. You want to say 失礼いたします or 失礼します when leaving. Okay? Leaving before them or leaving at night. So that's how you can say goodbye to them. 失礼 means rude. 失礼します. You might think it means I do rudeness. But it just is the phrase when you leave a place. So this is a very important phrase. If you're working in a Japanese company, you will probably hear this a lot. 失礼します. 失礼いたします. いたします is more polite than just します, by the way. So adding nasai is optional, right? This goes same for the phrase おかえり, おかえりなさい. Again, personally, I'd just say おかえり to my friends, to my family. So おかえり, by the way, means like welcome back. So that's the phrase you say to somebody coming home to your house, okay? Or, you can use it on the chat as well. Like somebody's like, be right back. ちょっと待ってて. The person comes back, like, ただいま, I'm back. You can say おかえり. Again, おかえりなさい. Adding なさい makes it sound more formal. So among friends, it's more common to say おかえり. おかえりなさい. You can say that if you are in a posh family. Or you can say that to your partner as well. But again, it depends on your personality. Also, it can just depend on the mood. Sometimes you want to say おかえりなさい. Sometimes you say おかえり. This doesn't make too much difference. Just adding this nasai makes you sound more formal and sometimes more posh. Now let's talk about ごめんなさい. This is a bit different. So ごめん is how we say sorry casually. Okay? すみません. That's the formal way to say I'm sorry. Okay? Or excuse me. Remember ちょっとすみません. If you want to pass by. You want to pass by somebody or you bump into somebody, you say すみません. So that's the polite way. So you don't say that to your friends. To your friends, you say ごめん. ごめん. So you can say ごめん遅れた. Sorry, I'm late. Or you bump into your friend, you say ごめん, not すみません. If you say すみません to your friend, it sounds like you don't consider that person a friend. You might think, oh, that's a more polite way to say sorry. No, it just sounds quite distant, too formal. So yeah, ごめん. But again, you don't want to say that to strangers. So if you say ごめん to strangers, they might get offended. Oh, it's so hard, Japanese. If you say soz to your friends, I mean, soz sounds horrible, but it's not acceptable if you are talking to your boss, for example. ごめん is casual, right? ごめんなさい, on the other hand, can be used both formally and informally. Generally only formally, but if you feel terrible, you can say ごめんなさい to your friends and family as well. Especially children, when they do something bad and want the parents to forgive them, they say ごめんなさい, not ごめん. Or not すみません. すみません be weird again. That's to strangers. If the kid really wants to apologize to their parents, they say ごめんなさい. ごめんなさい. And if I did something really bad to my friends, I can also say ごめんなさい. Although still ごめん can be fine. But you can't really say ごめんなさい to customers. There's another business speech, right? So to customers, you have to say 申し訳ありません or 申し訳ございません. I have a lesson on this 敬語 business speech and polite form and everything, so check it out. But yeah, ごめんなさい is great if you're apologizing to your family or friends. Generally, ごめん is enough. すみません is good to use towards strangers. 申し訳ございません is great to use towards customers. But it's quite interesting that ごめん, like the word for sorry uses this imperative form, right? ごめん literally means forgiveness. So ごめんなさいliterally meant please forgive me. So forgive me, that's still an order, imperative form, right? ごめんなさい, that's the imperative form, but it doesn't sound rude anymore because it's a set phrase now. Alright, that's it for today. So to summarize, unless you are a parent or teacher, the only time you use なさい would be when you use these phrases おかえりなさい、おやすみなさい、ごめんなさい. But you can still omit those なさい and say おかえり、おやすみ、ごめん, right? So you might never say this なさい, but you will definitely hear this a lot. So it's worth remembering. Alright, thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, please give a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you could check out my Patreon page, and if it seems like something you'd like to support, I would forever be grateful. Thank you so much. じゃあまたね。バイバイ。